Let's talk politics now. The Independent National Electoral Commission INEC is calling for transparency in the conduct of primaries and the nomination of candidates ahead of the November 16th governorship elections taking place in Bayelsa and Kogi states. Now, while restating the timelines for the primaries, which according to the electoral umpire on his Facebook page will last from August the 18th to September the 5th, INEC has asked the political parties to conduct the exercise according to democratic norms following the provision of the Electoral Act as well as its regulations and guidelines. The INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, mentioned that conducting credible primaries for the nomination of candidates will strengthen electoral process in the country. He also explained that peace efforts in both Kogi and Bayelsa states have commenced in a bid to have a violent-free exercise. And talking about elections in Bayelsa State, the immediate past Minister of State for Agriculture, Senator INEC has declared his intention to contest for the governorship seat in Bayelsa State. To set the ball rolling, the senator inaugurates his campaign office in the state capital with his former boss, that's the Minister of Agriculture, Audu Owe, and other dignitaries in attendance. They expressed confidence in Senator Lukwobri's ability to take Bayelsa State to the next level.
The political landscape of Bayelsa State is getting set for active political activities that will give birth to the next occupant of the Creek Haven, the state's seat of power. Politicians from different political parties have been indicating their interest to contest for the Bayelsa State governorship seat, and Senator INEC is first from the All Progressives Congress. Senator Lukwobri's is accompanied by his friends, family, political associates and supporters as he makes his intentions known to the leadership of the APC in the state.
INEC had released their timetable. In politics, everything has timelines. So based on that, we decided to take some steps. And one of the steps we are taking is to formally come and inform you and your ESCO members that we are running for the ticket of the APC to run and win the governorship election for November 16, 2019.
The state chairman of the APC assures the teaming supporters of the party's ability to win the election as he encourages Senator Lukwobri's to continue with his political activities.
If your brother, your sister is in other party, tell them to come, that APC has the winning wand, that we are poised to take over from the said restoration government that has given us empty promises.
The entourage then proceeds to the INEC Lukwobri's campaign secretariat for the official inauguration. The immediate past Minister of Agriculture, Audu Owe, is one of the dignitaries who witnessed the declaration and inauguration of the campaign secretariat.
Amen. And the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Then Senator Lukwobri's inaugurates the campaign secretariat as he shows guests around the edifice and presents appointment letters to local government volunteers.
You can't have a better formed person than this man. In the process of going through these stages, you learn a lot more than you can learn in Harvard or Oxford. He has learned, and I'm a witness, and I have confidence in him.
Senator Lukwobri's is promising the people of Bayelsa meritorious leadership when given the chance to govern the state.
From politics to education now, the Bauchi state government is worried about the rot in the state's education sector, especially in the wake of the recent lamentation from parents and other stakeholders. They say the decay in infrastructure is alarming, combined with the challenges of lack of quality teachers and inadequate learning and teaching materials. The state also ranks high in the number of children that are out of school, even though the state government has promised to change the narrative. Our correspondent, Hajara Aliu, visits a primary school in Bauchi State 20 months after her first visit and reports that the situation is still the same.
This is Godom Hausawa Primary School. Channel's TV crew was here in November 2017.
It's exactly 1 year, 8 months since the last time we were here, and nothing has changed. Even though government at that time claimed it was carrying out massive construction of classroom blocks across the state, it appears the intervention never came here.
The only access road to the school is through this puddle. And in school, some of the grades learn under the tree and share space with farmlands while forced to cope with ant bites. Open defecation is practiced due to the absence of toilet facility and, worse off, the lack of potable drinking water. A few pupils who are fortunate to accommodate the only 2 classrooms in the school have no desk to write, while some of the teachers also sit on the floor in the small staff room. Classes are cut short whenever it rains.
If the pupils are seated on the ground with moisture, the moisture will affect the pupils. It will cause them maybe some sickness.
These children hawk on the streets. They are less fortunate to be in school. We caught up with them as they watch others learn. Some stakeholders in the state are worried over the number of out-of-school children in the state.
In Bauchi, we have about 1.2 million of children out of school, out of the 10 million, and Bauchi is ranked first with the number of out of school.
The decay cuts across many schools in Bauchi state, and the governor is concerned. He has promised to fix this within a short period of his administration.
I have approached our bankers. They have given us this counterpart funding, and we have accessed this money is in the kitty, about 5.5 billion, which we will use to make sure we renovate all the blown off classrooms in the rural areas and build no new ones. Because since the last 25 years, no classroom has been built or no primary school has been sited anywhere.
The promise to revamp the sector and get more children in school is what many residents are ready to hold government accountable after 4 years. Hajara Aliyu, Channels Television News.
From Bauchi to Taraba State, where no fewer than 150 communities will benefit from the latest phase of rural electrification projects. This is coming from the state governor, Darius Ishaku, while inspecting ongoing rural electrification projects in some communities in central Taraba. He insists his second term in office will ensure that more communities are connected to the national grid in fulfillment of his campaign promises.
It doesn't matter where you reside in Taraba State. Electricity will get to your homes, offices, and help improve your social lives. That's the promise from the state governor, Darius Ishaku, who believes that indigents deserve reliable electricity supply, irrespective of where they live or what they do. A commitment aimed at facilitating the provision of affordable power supply from the national grid.
But we're hoping that at least we'll have like 100 and 150 communities connected to the NEPA, that is the PSCN line. This is the PSCN line we're trying to connect. And then those that were moving away the generators from them, will take it to where this PCN and PSCN cannot get to those communities. The whole idea is to give as many communities light as possible in Taraba State.
Communities in Takum, Wukari and Donga local government areas in southern Taraba are already enjoying the provision of electricity, with testimonies from locals that they now have a sense of belonging.
Before, we are using generator. So since from there, we used to spend every day like 1,500 naira per week. We used to spend like 6,000. But for now, yes, we thank God. We thank God, and we're enjoying the light since from this last month to this week.
And we thank God that for this present government, that is Governor Darius Ishaku, for giving us this rural electrification.
According to the state government, up to 150 communities are in line to be captured in this new phase located in Adokola in northern Taraba local government area alongside Bali and Gasol in Taraba Central. The project was launched the first term of Governor Ishaku as part of his rescue mission campaign.
Airtel Africa finally gets the nod to move to the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Busy has that and other business stories.
Welcome to Business News. The Securities and Exchange Commission has finally approved the planned secondary listing of Airtel Africa on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. The approval by the capital market regulator now clears the way for the company's listing on July the 8th. Airtel Africa's planned listing is expected to add about $1.44 billion or 1.36 trillion naira to Nigeria's stock market and make the telco the third most capitalized company on the NSE after Dangote Cement and MTN Nigeria. The Nigerian Stock Exchange surprisingly announced the postponement of the telecoms operator's listing on the burst yesterday, which was the initial date scheduled for the listing. The NSE explained that the postponement became necessary in order to ensure that Airtel Africa satisfied all the post-NSE approval prerequisites. Meanwhile, the much-awaited capital-raising exercise of Sovereign Trust plc has now commenced via rights issue of 4.17 billion ordinary shares of 50 kobo each at 50 kobo per share. According to the prospectus, the provisional allotment is in the proportion of 1 new ordinary share for every 2 ordinary shares of 50 kobo held at the close of business on Tuesday, January the 15th, 2019. In line with the Securities and Exchange Commission rules, shareholders' CSCS accounts will be credited not less than 15 days from the date base of allotment, as ordinary shares not taken up by July the 31st, 2019 will be allotted on a pro-rata basis. The exercise, which kicked off on June the 24th, will lapse on July the 31st. One news from the markets, and this time the local bourse has lifted the suspension of the trading placed on the shares of Cornwall over the late filing of accounts. The NSE explains in a statement that Cornwall, which was one of the 11 suspended companies, has now filed its audited financial statements for the year ended December 31, 2018 to the exchange. The NSE had on Tuesday suspended trading in the shares of the energy company and 10 listed companies for non-compliance with the rules for filing of accounts and treatment of default filing under the rule box of the exchange. Meantime, the first trading week of July at the NSE kickstarts the second half of the year deeper in the red after intense persistent profit-taking dominated 4 out of 5 key sectors of the market. The impact of the sell pressure by investors mostly affected the banking sector, which led to a 2.32% drop in the all-share index and over 290 billion naira loss in total market value. Academic Press is top among 21 gainers, up 48.15%. Smart Products led 43 other losers, down 34.09%, while the share price of 103 equities were unchanged within the week. Overall volume turnover within the 5 trading sessions stands at 1.02 billion units in more than 19,300 transactions, driven largely by the shares of UBA, Zenith Bank, and EPN Holdings. And that's it on Business News. It's back to Melinda.
Many thanks, Vissy. Still ahead on the news at 10, the Super Eagles of Nigeria edge out cup holders Cameroon in a 5-goal thriller to reach the quarterfinals of the 2019 African Cup of Nations. That's the sports news. Stay with us.